Hi, my name is Sheila Willis of Impact Tourism, the developer of the History Check mobile app. Welcome to History Bytes, your dose of Alberta Historical Trivia, brought to you in partnership with Belt Drive Betty Media and the Canadian Motorcycle Tourism Association. You can register to answer the questions for a shot to win prizes, or just take the quiz to satisfy your own brain power. Either way, we're excited to see how much of Alberta's history you really know. And our last question was, when did the town of Slave Lake move from the mouth of the Lesser Slave River to its present location? Is it A, 1898, B, 1920, or C, 1935? And the answer is C, 1935. In April of that year, Grouard, which is located at the western end of Lesser Slave Lake, had a petition circulating to request the government to take care of the surplus water. They were expecting a big flood that would cover thousands of acres and miles of roads. By June and July, those predictions were coming to light. Rains were coming daily, and some lasting for several days. While the whole region had issues, transportation problems started further east. In those days, Highway 2 ran along the Lesser Slave River. Today it's a gravel road known as the Old Smith Highway. At the top end, towards Lesser Slave Lake and the town of Slave Lake, portions of the highway were underwater. It was described as a virtual lake from Slave Lake halfway to Smith. Cars were going to the flood zone and being hauled in power scows or boats to Slave Lake and unloaded on the river bridge. It only cost $15 per car, which in today's world would have been the equivalent of about $285. The outcry was enough that the government started paying the scow operators, so travelers were not charged anything. After working for 2 weeks on cleaning up the roads, traffic was just starting to get through when the rains came again and it was all washed away. Also following the Lesser Slave River on the opposite shore was the Northern Alberta Railway line. It then carried on along the south shore of Lesser Slave Lake. In 1935, passenger service was as common as many of us getting in our cars and going today. Goods were also transported primarily by train. The flood put many sections of the track under several feet of water, and washouts were common. Between the road and the tracks being underwater, traffic was tied up for days and weeks at a time. The train brought passengers to Smith, where they were unloaded, along with their baggage, and then taken by track motors or push cars to the flooded area. Boats and scows were then used to move them and other freight to dry land on the other side, much like the cars. In some cases, mail, necessities, and perishable goods were flown across. Planes were fitted with pontoons and were landing and taking off on the Athabasca River near Smith. Even the Athabasca River was rising dangerously high. Farther upstream, it broke through Chisholm Sawmill's pond, log boom, and swept acres of saw logs downstream. They were stopped by the railway bridge at Smith, where the chains entangled and hooked up on the bridge piers, creating a trap for all of the other debris moving downriver. To save the bridge, a trainload of steel rails and cars of gravel were parked on it to prevent it from being swept away. It was during this time when Slave Lake was moved from the river to the railway where it now sits today. I think they got tired of being flooded out. But at Old Town, Oliver Olson in Echoes of the Athabasca River says you needed hip boots to go into the hotel, and you could have a beer and fish out the window. I don't think that would have been such a bad thing. Anyways, our next question is, how many buildings were there in Lacombe in the early 1890s? Were there A, 5, B, 9, or C, 15? Come back for the answer and the story that goes along with it, then we'll load you up with the next question. Enjoy!